Thank you very much. And next on the agenda, Councilmember Blevins, you have someone that wants to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On last week, I had a citizen call me and request to come speak to the council. At the time, it was an incident that she had involving the police department and questions about how to file, file charges and stuff. And there seemed to be like there was definitely an issue with that. So when she contacted me, she had requested to come speak on that matter. I had spoken to Chief Hibbs, and he sent an officer to go speak to her, which I hope would have helped. She still actually requested to come speak today when she's here today, but I approved for her to come speak about this police issue. There has been other issues that have been brought up afterwards that were not really explained to me at the time that was asked brought up. So I just want to let you know that I brought her to come speak specifically on the incident that happened with the police and basically the hoops that had to be ran through to file charges against somebody. So it's Miss Debbie Fulton.
Yeah, and would you get the microphone, state your name? You can stand at that one or sit at the chair, whatever you wish. Any of them you want.
All right, my name is Deborah Fulton, and the issues I have with the police is response time. In our neighborhood, it takes 30 minutes to an hour plus to get a police officer out there when we call. That's one of our issues. Police department, the police officers don't fill out the reports right. They're incomplete reports. I got to take the police report that we just had from somebody vandalizing my car, my daughter's car, back up there because my daughter's car wasn't even mentioned in the police report. Can't even go to the prosecuting attorney to file a lawsuit because it's incomplete. It should not take the police department or a police officer 30 minutes plus to come to our house at all. My granddaughter came up missing. It took an hour and a half to get a cop out there. And that's everybody frantically looking for her. She's supposed to got off at the bus from school, disappeared. An hour and a half to get a police officer out there. In our neighborhood, the cop response is not 2 minutes.
Was this a response to an ongoing event or just to file a report?
This one was just to file a report. This is the first incident with this person at my house. It's not the first incident with this person in our neighborhood.
Okay, and I'd certainly be happy to let Chief Hibbs be the one unless the council member wants to address this. But Chief Hibbs, would you address some of these concerns, please?
I don't agree with it. On this particular call that she made a Facebook post about, she made a lot of accusations that were completely inaccurate. I have the call, I have the time that the officers were dispatched, and the call came in and they were dispatched. First officer was dispatched at 10:13. He arrived at 10:21, which is 8 minutes. He was not in the area. The second officer was dispatched at 10:14. They arrived 5 minutes later at 10:19. Our average response time is 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That's from the 53,000 calls in 2021 that we handled. 2 minutes and 40 seconds is our average. There is no time that I'm aware of that it takes us an hour and a half to get anywhere. That's insane. Completely inaccurate. If it was, there was a hostage situation going and everybody was tied up, but we haven't had that. I do have on occasion every officer tied up on calls because we run our shifts at minimum right now. As you know, down on manpower. We are trying to hire. It's been an ongoing struggle. We keep our shifts manned at 6 or 7 officers. Depending on the times and the dates, 24 hours a day, that's our manning. The minimum is 6. So I pay a lot of overtime to fill holes in shifts where guys can have days off, vacation, sick, whatever. Military leave, we have to handle all that. So I'm going to tell you there were always at least 6 officers out there. They go call to call, and they still average a response time of 2 minutes and 40 seconds. This particular call that she's talking about, it took the officers 5 minutes to get there, the first one. The second one, 8 minutes. To handle the call accurately, Captain Washington's here, and he talked to her also. I think I was out of state at the time. They handled the call according to state law within the rules of criminal procedure, which is on a misdemeanor if the officer doesn't witness the crime and he's not there to see it. The state law, Constitution, rules of criminal procedure are they do a report, they refer that person to the prosecutor, that person goes, files a complaint. It's been done that way for, I don't know how long, maybe Stephanie can tell me how long rules of criminal procedure have been in place, but I guarantee you the 27 years that I've been here, that's the way we've been doing it. If a misdemeanor occurs outside of our presence, we do not make an arrest unless it's a domestic violence situation or there's a couple other things. If it's a felony and we have probable cause, we make an arrest right there. This particular incident was a misdemeanor. The officer cannot, I'll stress to you, he cannot, by law, without violating somebody's rights, make an arrest on a misdemeanor. That does not happen in his presence. We've done it the same way for years. We refer him to the prosecutor. There's nothing new. The officer's documented a report, and all of that was done. It is not any of my doing that the prosecutor's office now takes complaints at the main office in Little Rock. They used to do it here. They moved that several years ago. I don't know why. Maybe budget. If they do it for us, they got to do it for Sherwood, Maumelle, North Little Rock, and everybody else, which means a prosecutor there full time. That means a secretary, an office, and that's maybe it was expenses. I really don't know. It's campaign season for the prosecutor right now. There are two of them running for election, so maybe you could bring that up to them on their campaign trail. It's a good question for them, but I cannot answer that. I can tell you that I don't know about the incident with the missing kid. I'm not familiar with that one. But in this particular incident, it took my officer 5 minutes to get there. He was in the area. And I'll tell you this, just to add one more thing, that I started back in the spring. We started doing a what we call CompStat, a version of CompStat. And I knew from the trend around the country for the last 2 years, violence is up everywhere. I'm sure you've seen it, right? There's like 17 shootings in Little Rock last weekend over a period of time. It's nothing new. It's been going on for a couple of years. We have a gun problem, we have a violence problem, we have gangs fighting, and I knew it was going to be a bad summer if I didn't start early. We were having a shots fired problem. It was pretty high at the beginning of the year. Y'all were getting complaints about it. I can tell you right now that they were way down because of the efforts my officers have made. I have an analyst that tells us the times and dates these violence is normally occurring, what areas. I send the officers to that area, where we're having problems during those times, and we flood that area with officers. To say there's no officers in Sunnyside or in the South End is completely ridiculous, because that's where I've put most of them. There are more officers there now since the spring than there ever have been. And that's something that I have been doing with staff meetings and my captains and lieutenants. It's a focused effort, and we've reduced the crime. We've had one homicide this year, where all the other cities have had way more than us. And so I tell you that I think we've done a tremendous job.
I think so too. Chief, I got a question. So if you have a child that's reported lost, I thought there was a certain amount of time before you can start.
No,
really
that's not, that's a myth, and we don't know. No, that's that's for movies and TV and stuff. And a lot of people do think that, but I'll tell you, my officer's already had training. It was state mandated on missing persons. That report is taken no matter what at that time, whether they think it happened or not. We take the report. To say that, but I think what she said was it took us an hour and a half to get there, and I don't know what was going on.
What happened? Where was it at? Where was she at? You know?
I don't know. I don't know.
She wound up at a friend's house that she didn't get permission to go to. She knew she was grounded.
Sounds like
But I was also told by a police officer, because she was not technically kidnapped, she's just missing, they wouldn't be an Amber Alert put out for her.
Right.
No, that's correct.
Exactly.
That doesn't meet the criteria.
You know,
Be a parent would take care of that pretty
we
quickly.
didn't know where she disappeared. We didn't know if somebody took her from the bus stop. We just know she didn't come home from the bus stop.
Right. Well,
So, you know, as
A lot
much
of-
kids are being nabbed nowadays, it wouldn't matter if a kid just got ran away, an Amber Alert needs to be put out for
It does.
children.
We are not allowed to, without knowing that that kid is in imminent danger. There are different levels of Amber Alerts. We call the state police and tell them what we have in a particular case. They tell us whether or not it meets the criteria. We had one the other day. We knew it didn't meet it, but we called them anyway. A lot of times a kid's missing. We had one that was missing, and I think we found her out of state, 12 years old, with her mom that she was not supposed to be with. She did run away. Everybody on Facebook saying we should do an Amber Alert. She was not in imminent danger. She ran off with her, and we knew kind of what was going on. But the problem is, if we don't know where the kid is, that doesn't mean they are in danger. We have to know they are in danger. And that's a, Amber. It was a 3-minute response time for the missing kid that she's referring to, not an hour and a half.
I know we were searching for the child. My daughter said she.
They may have
called,
searched, but we may not have been informed of it while y'all were searching.
You know, and we were searching as my daughter was calling, and I know we searched for over an hour. And by the time I got back home, that's when the police showed up. So, but I do know that a lot of times there is no response from the police department for at least 30 minutes.
I have to disagree with that. We respond to every call we get.
And then the incomplete police report.
Okay.
My daughter was involved in the vandalism. Her car was involved in the vandalism. She's not mentioned on the
If I
police
remember
report at
correctly,
all.
she said her car was hit with a brick, but the brick never even touched her car. It was thrown in the
They've got
direct.
pictures where it did touch the car.
Okay.
There damage to the windows, damage to her
Now,
mirror.
irregardless, she still has to take that complaint to the prosecutor's office. We
Take the
can't,
complaint to the
we can't
prosecuting
issue the
attorney's
warrant
office
until she
if
does
she's
that.
not on the police report.
Deborah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So when you have a problem like this, did you go to the police department and ask to talk to the chief or another officer instead of coming here to tell us? Because these stories are not matching up. So did you ever go to the police
I've
department?
talked to the police officer. They sent one over and I told him.
I'm talking about after you're sitting there saying that they didn't respond for an hour and a half, they didn't do the reports or
I
anything.
said
Did you?
sometimes they don't respond to calls for an hour and a half.
Okay, my question is, have you ever went to the police department to sit down and talk to one of the officers?
I've talked to many people. I don't know which
You've
ones
gone
I've
to the
talked
police department and asked to talk to one of them and sit down one-on-one to try to figure out, your
Not
complaint?
lately, because lately, when you try to talk to anybody, try to get anything done, nothing gets done. So the only way to fix anything now is come to city board meetings.
No, I disagree with that.
Go to the news.